Hello and welcome back to Rogue Trader. We have defeated Kunrad Voidship, we've defeated Urlon the Cruel, and we've defeated the Edge of Daybreak, who they managed to summon. And it leaves us in an interesting spot, because right now, we have defeated everything that we know about. We have defeated, effectively, the big bad of the game, which is a little bit odd, right? Like, Kunrad, they set up as early as possible to be your rival through the game, and he is gone. They set up a master for him, he is gone. They set up a voice in your head, which is also gone. It's a very interesting situation, and I wonder where they're going to go with it. The only thread I see which remains is what exactly did Kalkazar not want anyone to find in this planet? And that's something that I assume we're going to find out when we click the button over here to report completion. But before we... Urlon, are you okay? I think he's fine. He's just resting over there. Before we do that, we're going to level up, and yeah, we're going to go. So, let's do some level ups. Oh, we got 2 level ups from those fights. Wow. Okay, so second tier archetype ability. Did I tick anything? Yes, Enduring Zone. Using a stratagem on a combat tactics area grants all allies 9 deflection against the next melee attack they suffer. That's pretty good. I do like that quite a lot. Yeah, I don't think I need any of these other ones. Although, what is interesting is if I was to use the personal combat zone, I can then get my allies to move the things around with them. So that would have been really useful in the last fight, where it was constantly moving. We could have had Argenta move the dodge zone with her. That would have been interesting. I think Enduring Zone makes the most sense. Getting our allies' deflection against melee attacks could be incredible. And then here, we get one of these. So, what are we at? We are at +4. I guess I'll just click on these. This should be fine. So, characteristic value currently is 45, 74, 77, 70, 45, 40, 49, and then 40. Maybe we take ballistic skill. It is quite useful to be able to shoot things. Perception also helps with that, though. Yeah, perception I think would be better because perception goes into some of our abilities. So yeah, maybe we take a point of that. Although we could also take a point of fellowship because that'll boost up a bunch of the things that we have, such as if I hover over here somewhere. Is it? Oh, there we go. Such as persuasion. That will push it up a little bit. That could be good actually. Yeah, let's take fellowship. I'm quite happy with that. Then we get to take another one. Let's take another point of fellowship. Why not? We get +10. And then we get one of these. So, we've already boosted persuasion quite a lot. Logic is 160. We could push up coercion. We could also push up commerce. Logic would be nice, but the thing is, the lowest we've seen logic is an 80% roll. But that's an 80% roll that we get to re-roll thanks to one of our items that we have on. So, what is the chances of failing an 80% roll twice? I mean, it's 1 in 5, then 1 in 5. It's not very likely, is it? So, yeah. Let's go for... Let's go for some coercion. I think that could be useful. Yeah, let's take it. So that's where we've ended up. We've ended up with 117 commerce, 122 coercion, 149 persuasion, which actually makes it our our third best one because we have Lord Xenos, and then logic is 160. Yeah, that works for me. Ulfar, same kind of stuff. Let me just double check what you get. Yeah, you get the same stuff. So let's look at this first. Makes sense to increase toughness twice because that'll then increase his strength in turn. And it gives him more health, which is all very good. Athletics, carouse. Yeah, we know what we're doing with him. Right. So he gets one of these. So tenacity is once per combat. If he was to suffer one of these effects, he instead heals, which is quite nice. And then I haven't ticked anything in here. Oh no, I tipped adaptability. Granting a stack of versatility, or gaining a stack of versatility grants increased critical hit chance until the end of the turn. Stacks. That's the end of the turn, so the turn is just his one turn. So if we can maybe gain 3 now, so that's like 15%. I don't think that's as good as it used to be. Seeing what other stuff we have here. Devastating attack reduces target's armor and toughness by 10. Oh, maybe there was a reason that I should have been using devastating attack on Argenta. She might have had that. I mean, obviously there's no point in using it more than once, right? Because it doesn't stack, but using it at least once would have been useful. Can use two-handed weapons in melee range. That's kind of useful actually for his flamer, potentially. Any ranged area or burst attacks of the Archmilitant reduce the weapon skill of all enemies hit by -10 till the end of combat. That's kind of useful if we use his flamer more. A lot of these are like, it's kind of useful if you use your flamer more. Any of the Archmilitant's area attacks, both melee and ranged, reduce deflection of all enemies hit by 2 and armor by 7 until the end of turn. Or not end turn, sorry, end of combat. That's pretty good as well. That's burst and melee area attack, reduce dodge. Okay. Heavy gunner, I don't think we need. Okay. Let's maybe take this one, the one that reduces deflection and armor. I think that sounds pretty good. Then we're going to take a point of toughness, because toughness will eventually lead to strength. Then we're going to take toughness again, because toughness will lead to strength and it gives health. Then we take any of these that we like. We'll take, actually we'll take a carouse because his athletics will be even higher, thanks to the fact that we've just increased his strength by increasing his toughness, which increases his HP, which then increases his strength. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, he's looking pretty strong right now. Next up, Abelard. 2 of these. So, we don't really need anything from second tier. We have most of it. Yeah, it's when allies are next to him, which it doesn't really matter. Whenever an ally hits him, doesn't matter. Allies affected by Vanguard ability gain fell, doesn't matter. Once per round, whenever an enemy that considers the Vanguard a primary target enters a cell adjacent to the Vanguard, that enemy provokes an attack with opportunity. It doesn't matter, we'll parry them anyway. All allies affected by the Vanguard's abilities are less likely to suffer a critical hit. Force Distraction grants 3 MP to the ally that you use Force Distraction on. That's kind of interesting. 2-cell radius, 2-cell radius, and then we got a bunch of other stuff that doesn't matter, and no heresy, which is kind of useful. Where were we? I was one of the... Yeah, I think On Your Feet might make that quite worth using. Here, we take Strength. It's the obvious answer. I mean, we could take Weapon Skill, but I don't think we've had an issue so far. Oh, in which case... And there you go. We can't take Strength again, so we'll take Weapon Skill here. That seems very good then. Okay. And then... Awareness, because you can't take Athletics or Carouse, so you take Awareness. Yeah, seems good to me. Heinrichs. Demolitions. Followed by Athletics, followed by Awareness. It's Demolitions followed by Awareness for him, followed by Athletics. We probably want to improve his Willpower, or 1 in Agility, like 1 in Willpower, something like that. Yeah, maybe improve his ballistic skills so he can actually hit with his ranged weapon. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. So, starting off, we have 1 assassin thing. Death Whisper deals 10 additional damage. Okay. But we could take Psychic Power stuff. Psychic Powers that have a range of 2 or more have the range increased by +3. +3 being Perception. We could take a point of Perception, make that +4. That'd be quite nice. Yeah. That would be very nice, actually. You don't have offensive Psych or stuff that you use. Okay. Stronger together. Yeah. So let's take Second Sight. We're then going to take a point of Perception. And a point of... I can't take a point of Agility. A point of Ballistic Skill. That... Oh, I have to do it like this. Yeah. And then a point of Ballistic Skill. The point of the Ballistic Skill is that we can actually hit our weapon. And actually increasing Perception as well will do that as well. The reason why we want to do this is this means that he's going to be able to hit with his pistol if we need to. So when he's like that little distance away, he can actually hit the enemy. And if he can hit the enemy, then he can use his assassin powers on the enemy, which is Fantastic. Right, and then we take awareness. Okay, Pascal, you are going to go for Medicae, toughness, strength. Medicae, toughness, strength. Anything else? Persistence of the Forge. Gain a stacking bonus to hit chance and dodge reduction against any target they hit with a single target attack. Successful critical hits from single target attacks increase the hit chance and dodge reduction by 20%. Yeah, and I have no assassin stuff I want him to have. I'll take Persistence of the Forge. We're then going to take a point of strength. And then we're going to take a point of toughness, just to toughen him up a little bit. And then we take Medicae. We can't take tech use. We take awareness. Wonderful. So that makes him even stronger. I mean, I know his strength is now 83, which is kind of weird. It's because we increased his toughness, which then increases his health, which increases his strength. So I guess we could have increased toughness twice, but yeah, strength is good for him because he uses a two-handed weapon and that scales really well with strength. Demolition, awareness, doesn't matter. Medicae, I guess, after that. Okay. Oh, and then back here. Maybe a point of toughness, but I think if we can't take... We kind of want agility, ballistic skill, perception on her. Yeah. So, let's go in here, see what we got. Do I have anything that I've ticked here? Oh, preferred targets. Whenever they attack targets that have their dodge reduced by any effects by the, applied by the Archmilitant's allies, their critical hit chance goes up. When they have their parry reduced, you gain critical damage. Let me just check something about exposed weakness. Expose weakness. Lowers parry. Perfect. That's all we needed to check. So that would give her 20% increased damage. Or increased critical damage. That's very nice. Yeah, I can see why I ticked it. The critical hit chance doesn't matter at all. The damage matters a lot. Okay, so I can't take agility, so we take ballistic skill. I will take 1 in perception. Wait, I don't need 1 in perception? No. Wait, am I at 55 right now? Let me just take something else so I can have a look. Yes, so I do need 1 in perception to get the next bonus. And then here, we can't take demolitions or awareness, so we take Medicae because she can use her Medicaes. Right, I think I said I was going to do this in between episodes, but I didn't. And that is equipping Medikits. In case you're wondering why Ulfar has these ones, I don't think he can use the other ones. That I think is why I equipped them with those, but he doesn't really use Medikits either way. You don't have any iconoclast stuff, so these are all useless to you. If you're an advanced Medikit, we'll give you a couple of, well, you need the Chirurgeon one. There we go, that's the one that removes traumas. Then an advanced Medikit. Oh, apparently this one does a whole bunch of things. Oh, cool. Where's my advanced Medikit? I've lost it entirely. Is that it? There we go. Right. And then you can have an advanced Medikit as well. Here's a little red pouch. Very fetching. Right. Let's do a save. And then we're going to head up. Yeah, I'm excited to find out where things go. If we get a chance between Act 4 and 5, I am going to sell a bunch of those Medikits and sell a bunch of the consumables that we have to the various factions that we know about, because I believe that you get gifts from them at the end of Act 4 or something like that if you've got a high enough rank. So, if we can push up the rank to whatever rank it is, it'll be useful. Although I think we've maxed out 2 of them, so it'd be like maybe 3 of them, because I think we did Imperial Navy as well, so yeah. We probably already have enough, but we'll see. The Voxcaster is producing nothing but static. Hello, can anyone hear me? Aishara's voice cuts through the static. We read you, Strike Team. This is Lift Control. Report your status. Urlon is dead. Aishara responds after a brief pause. Acknowledge, Strike Team. Beginning the extraction of the priority cargo. A fine victory, Malachi. They will tell sagas about this day, and they'll tell sagas about the day the contemptible Urlon fell. The Cogpriest should offer you a fine cup of mead for saving their prayer world. Thorvald nods at the two gaunt bodies in crimson robes lying on the throne. If you hadn't, Erlon would have bathed them in 100-fold more blood. As for you, Ever, Ulfar Thunderlung, you have proven yourself. The Stormbiters will tell all about your feat and your roaring song. I thank you, Thorvald. You and your brothers fought well. Did the wolves proud. It will be my joy to share a cup with you at the victory feast, Ironhide. How is your pack, Thorvald? What are your losses? Several of my brothers will carry on fighting their battles in the Allfather's host. The rest have survived. We shed much of our blood, but a wolf's hide is tough and his spirit is stubborn. When you take us down, you had best finish us off. The Stormbiters live on this day, and the next. I see you and Ulfar have worked through your quarrels. It doesn't become a noble warrior to bark at his battle comrade after a good fight, Ulfar. Thunderlung has proven that the spirit of the baleful howl is alive and strong. So let ravens fly where he has walked, and let them tear at the bloody harvest left in his wake. May Blackmane guide you through the blacker night, Ironhide. Know that if your pack calls, the baleful howl will always answer. What was hidden down there? What was the treasure that Erlon was after? I know not. Alcazar's curls did not allow anyone into the hidden arsenals. All we could see was them dragging crates up to the surface. It is the age-old way. We fight, they sweep up the spoils. Thorvald grimly nods at a pair of corpses. We brought those from below. For all I know, it was his curls that killed them to seal their lips. You see no signs of violence in the two women's bodies, but their porcelain white skin proves without a doubt that they are dead. Their hands are clutched together in a death grip. The sweet scent of rotten meat prickles my nostrils, but it is not the fallen bodies I smell, but the hands of the Inquisitor's minions. It is what my instinct tells me too. My heart has never had a strong faith in Calcazar's words before. Now whatever phantom trust I had is scattering into smoke. You must ask questions and get the answers. By force, if that is the way it has to be. Both wolves affirm the last words with fervent and murderous nods. Heinrichs casts a grim glance at the mighty warriors, but does not contradict them, either out of agreement or doubt about his survival were he to raise an objection. Okay. Examine the tech priest body with our tech use guy. Something strange has occurred to the two women's augmetics. It is as if they have begun to grow inside their flesh, spreading webs of metal around them. After taking a closer look, you realize that every augment seems to have begun mutating, developing new forms and functions not envisioned by their creators. It seems probable that this is what caused their demise. Oh. Wait a second. What if, I'm not even reading ahead, what if this is something to do with Nomos? Because Nomos is currently a bit of a loose end. So I'd be intrigued to figure out if it's something to do with him, or with it, and whether it is something to do with Pascal and his memory going weird and all of the stuff with him. Because those are two events which are thoroughly unexplained currently. Suddenly you hear a click inside one of the tech priest bodies and her eyes open wide. You know the other thing that's interesting? Some of this is similar to Pascal getting upgraded when he was in Komarag. I wonder whether that can link in. Anyway, a spasm shakes her gaunt limbs, making Thorvald clutch his weapon. Her lips twist into a crooked line, forcing out two words. The yoke. Curious. Get me a healer, priest. We have heavily wounded here. Thorvald roars his command into the Vox, but there is no immediate response. Reconstruction. Impossible. The woman's whisper is barely audible, but the weak voice that is coming from her pale lips still sounds more alive than the mechanical hiss of a Vox. The shelter has fallen. The maimed hunter comes. Cessation of vital functions inevitable. Her eyes momentarily roll back, but then a metallic churr inside her chest brings her back to consciousness. The shelter has fallen. The maimed hunter comes. Huh. The maimed hunter. Don't know who that is, but I feel like I should. Reading the unit's nospheric signature. No evidence of corruption registered in the algorithms. Detecting substantial logical disruptions within the augments. Threat level low. Let's inspect their wound. There is not a single wound upon her white skin, but there is no doubt that she will soon perish. Her augmetics are failing as if they have been sabotaged by some entropic influence. For a moment you consider it a sign of tech blight, but then you refute the thought. What you are witnessing is not decay, but transformation of the matter from which the tech priest's true flesh is made. Who are you? Magos. Axiomantha. Hanuman. That is my identifier. Hanuman, eh? Interesting. Pascal's mechadendrite snapping a whirlwind of alarm. The recorder in his Vox activates with a click. Initiating interrogation procedure. You're the maimed hunter? Could the maimed hunter be Pascal? I don't feel the maimed hunter would be Pascal. Huh. But I am intrigued. You are not the first servant of the Omnissiah I have met who goes by that name. The tech priest responds with a faint and enigmatic smile. You have found yourself at the center of a tangle of paradoxicality. You spoke of a shelter and a maimed hunter. What did you mean by it? This place was a shelter. The Lord Inquisitor hid me here, and not only me. A high-pitched groan of pain interrupts her words. The maimed hunter, a figure of termination, an unknown variable. Amernat's nemesis. I never met them, but I inferred their existence based on the statistical evidence and logical conclusions. The portents of entropy foretell that the hunter is near. Was the other tech priest your sister? She was me. A phenomenon of flesh divided me into two identical bodies at birth. The Omnissiah's wisdom let me overcome the psychological flaw by braiding the separated mind. I was the first to unificate in the fleet. Now, this half of me is dead. The rest of my mind is fading. The sympathetic principle is insurmountable. The tech priest closes her eyes and starts whispering something incomprehensible, sinking deeper into the depths of oblivion. Creation of unificates is dangerous knowledge that has long since been denounced by many as a procedure not blessed by the Omnissiah. It is based not on a direct prototype envisioned by the precursors, merely on loosely connected technologies. Knowledge will not have the capacity to be absolute until the coming of the Omnissiah. We do not know of such pre-technology, but can we claim with certainty that it never existed? Do you remember stories about the Gemini Krats, the twin magi who joined their minds in devotion to Mars? I remember. Proponents of the right to create unificates base their defense on this momentous precedent. How do you know about Amernat? I was a disciple of the Messiah of Discontinuing. When he was laid low, I found myself here. I hid from my reckoning. I reached out to the Omnissiah's wisdom as I pondered and considered. Logic revealed much to me, even here in my prison. The cycle will be discontinued, sister. Pascal speaks the words of the sacred motto with an air of mournful consolation. Hope is illogical, brother. Illogical? Is illogical a thing? Illogical? Ah, yes, it is. But there is illogical versus illogical. What is the difference between illogical and logical? Well, now I'm just curious. I've gone down a rabbit hole. So illogical refers to something that lacks reason or rationality. It is a thought process or that does not follow a logical sequence, making it unreasonable or unsound. Illogical reasoning is often characterized by contradictions or fallacies, which can lead to incorrect conclusions. Illogical is a term used to describe something that is neither logical nor illogical. It refers to a thought process or argument that is not based on reason or rationality, but rather on intuition or personal experience. Illogical thinking does not necessarily follow a logical sequence, but is not necessarily contradictory or fallacious either. It is associated with creativity, imagination, and intuition. I don't feel like I'm any closer. They're not saying it's they're not saying it's illogical. They're saying it's illogical. So here's an example of illogical in a sentence. The concept of love is illogical and cannot be explained by reason alone. His argument was illogical and lacked any logical basis. The dream she had last night was illogical and does not make sense. So illogical is it's actively against logic. Illogical is that it is not based in logic, but it could be logical. It could be that you could find some logic to it. Okay, so hope is illogical means that it's not that there is a lack of hope, it is that hope is a concept which does not have to have logic behind it to be true. I think is what they're saying here. I don't know, or having hope does not have basis. There's not a basis for hope in logic currently. Okay, can you speak more plainly? Are my words obscure? That is regrettable. Processing becomes difficult when you have only one half of your mind. Certain notions, data, and logical instruments were left in the less functional part of me. Well, given we brought Pascal, permission to commence the interrogation procedure granted. Pascal switches to rapid binary trills, but Axiomantha merely shakes her head. Pascal demands loudly, Our identifiers are identical. State the reason for the duplication. She closes her eyes and whispers almost deliriously. A portent left by the Messiah, a cog pattern in which the righteous may see the Deus Mechanicus. After this less than coherent response, Pascal continues sharply. I seek Archmagos Amernat. Where is he? The Messiah of discontinuing was revoked. Pascal says nothing for a while, then inquires thoughtfully. The maimed hunter, what are the unit's status and parameters? Coming, concealed. Proceed with caution, for the hunter too sees the Messiah's signs. Pascal, what have you learned from your conversation? The unit lacks clear answers. Her cognitive abilities have been damaged, but analytical data suggests a higher validity to our identifiers being an exact match. It is not a consequence of malicious falsification. It is more akin to an act of purposeful direction. Estimated level of threat to Archmagos Amernat increased. The unit identified as the maimed hunter is now regarded as the most probable source of danger. I've learned enough about you. If you wish to know more, then hurry. The turning of the cog will soon cease. What happened to you? A pained shadow falls across her face. The chapel was attacked. The preservation protocol commanded me to hide within the inner artifactorium and block out all outside access to it. Prolonged presence in close proximity to the object was prohibited by the algorithm, but the preservation protocol had a higher priority. The object affected me. I resisted. Resistance led to structural change. So, there was an object down here which has actively changed her. This is sounding like Nomos, right? Because was Nomos not caused by something going near Crudorak, and that causing Crudorak systems to change, and thereby killing the Eldari? Huh. Interesting. So maybe the object is a part of Crudorak that still has or that caused the change? What object? The yoke. The weapon we forged at the Lord Inquisitor's command, the Destroyer of Worlds. Okay. Well, the yoke would make sense as like Yoke. Well, I guess that's yoke, right? That's not yolk. As in, I was thinking yolk. I was thinking like an egg, but that's yolk. It's yokey. So it's yolk. I don't really know what that is. Interesting. Let me just, you know, I know that we could ask her, but like, what's a yoke? Yoke. A wooden crosspiece that is fashioned over the neck of two animals and attached to a plough or cart that they are to pull. A piece of garment that fits over the shoulders and to which the main part of the garment is attached. It appears to mostly be relating to animals, but it could be informally used as an attack. Huh. Interesting. I do like similar sounding words. Yolk is sometimes confused with yolk, as in the bit in an egg. Okay. So something that attaches to animals so that they can pull carts. It's interesting. Or part of a garment that goes over the shoulders in a similar way. It's an interesting name for a weapon. Okay. I need more details. How does it work? What is this yoke? An enigma. The project was kept a secret from everyone, including the smiths. We forged fragments of it. It was a tool for controlling energies of staggering power, and it was not the Omnissiah's blessed gifts that served as its foundation. It was forbidden knowledge that we comprehended. Now you see, that makes more sense. It was a tool for controlling energies of staggering power. The yoke is something that is effectively something that's being put on top of these energies to allow something else to function. Just as you would put it on an animal to allow the animal to pull the cart, what they've created is something to go on top of something or on top of these energies to control them. Registering blasts. We were continuing the work of our mentor, Archmagos Amernat. It was his wisdom that made our toils possible. Axiomantha's words render Pascal speechless. Heinrich shakes his head in amazement. A yoke? Ah, okay. A means of restraint. It sounds like a project on a grand planetary scale, and this is the first I'm hearing of it. Perhaps there was a hidden purpose to my assignments besides combating the cults and accompanying you, Malachi. But why? Okay, a means of restraint. Interesting how they're phrasing it. What else do you know about this weapon? How did Calcazar learn of it? Against whom does he intend to use it? Against anyone. Its power is absolute. The first experiments with the tech relic were calamitous. The tech blight is merely its echo. Its potential is so much greater. She stops as if frightened by her own words. It should never have fallen into the hands of the laity, but the Lord Inquisitor stole it. Its secret was procured beyond the dimensional gate, beneath the dark stars, and passed over to Amernat. Calcazar destroyed the Messiah of Discontinuing and robbed him, and then claimed the secret for himself. So Calcazar destroyed the Messiah of Discontinuing. That would, to me, indicate that Calcazar may be the maimed hunter or someone working for Calcazar. He knows, she points at Thorvald. He was there. Thorvald glances at you in shame. She speaks no lies. The first task the Inquisitor gave us in the Expanse was to destroy a cult of tech heretics. The deed was done. This Amernat, was he a good priest? Did Calcazar drag us into something foul? Wait a second, would that not mean that Ulfar was also there, or did he get... They must have done that after Ulfar got captured? Oh, no, he was also there. Ulfar looks away and rumbles heavily. I was there too. I fought those judged by Calcazar. Pascal's vox sounds as if a hot metal string just snapped inside. This unit is waiting for an explanation. Why did Calcazar need you to do this? At first, he tried to do everything swiftly and quietly, but his agents and the cog priests loyal to him failed to capture the leader of the tech heretics. That's when he realized he needed indestructible warriors. He needed us. The cog curls were powerless against the wolves' might, and we brought carnage to the explorator's ships and worlds. Ulfar, why did you keep quiet about this? Ulfar mutters, his expression as dark as a storm cloud. It was not my concern, only another's will.
It was the chapter's business. I've already told you more about the wolves than many of my brothers would have said in my place.
Okay. I understand, Space Wolf Ulfar. I think that's the best that we can say. We're not going to say that we respect his oaths. We're not going to say we have no right to judge him. We're not going to say we did not expect it from him. We're just going to say we understand and leave it at that.
Understand? You understand nothing.
A violent roar erupts from Ulfar's throat as his face turns red.
What can you know of what it's like for a warrior of the Allfather to be among mortals? You are my battle comrades. You're almost a pack to me, but you do not carry Russ's blessing, and you are not of my blood. You think I enjoy keeping my mouth shut about the wolves' secrets. You think I come from secretive schemers whose thoughts crawl and slither like vipers. It disgusts me. Truly, a wolf's place is among the wolves.
Ulfar grinds his teeth, no longer hiding his shame and anger. Pascal utters coldly. Unit Ulfar claims that he was a tool in another's hands. This statement has been archived. Then let every tool be treated as befits its function. Ulfar responds quietly and sullenly.
You're a worthy ally. Never meant you or your brethren harm, Cogpriest.
As befits its function. What else do you wolves know about Amernat? Thorvald throws up his hands.
Nothing, I swear on my honor. He disappeared and so did his ship. There is no blood upon our hands.
What do you know about the secret weapon?
I never even knew there was a weapon. I was told of traitors and I tracked them down. I claimed no trophies, had no part in any dark intrigues. You think I would have wished that sneaky scheming viper to get his hands on something so powerful? I wouldn't even trust him with my axe.
Well, it's not my place to judge you. You were following orders, or you were wrong to obey Kalkazar used you to commit dark deed. Kalkazar, I mean, yes, he did use them to commit a dark deed, but they had no knowledge of it, and, I mean, he is like the Lord Inquisitor of the region. He's pretty high up there. It is not my place to judge you. We're merely following orders. Thorvald frowns and says in a hollow voice,
And yet doubts smother my heart. Did we sully our chapter's honor with deeds done for a dishonorable end?
How exactly did the object affect you? A difficult thing to explain to a layman. Metamorphosis phenomena occur in the object's vicinity. Sacred technologies and even ordinary plasteel start to behave willfully, shifting, restructuring, altering their fundamental attributes. Imagine yourself gazing upon a surface of water that was disturbed by a stone an era ago. But the ripples never stopped coming. That is what it felt like. The object propagated echoes of change. Her true flesh has betrayed her and become a heavy burden of metal within her body, something that is not of the Omnissiah's design, something devoid of function. Pascal speaks the last words with audible disgust and sorrow. Why are you revealing Kalkazar's secrets to me? I was never his servant. I was forced to serve. When our circle was broken, he offered me a choice, submit or die. He threatened to kill half of me if I refused to forge for him. He needed Archmagos and Amernat's knowledge, and I had it. I saw no sense in resisting.
You betrayed him too.
Yes, her agreement comes easily with a weak smile. Ethics are an insubstantial construct of emotion. I acted logically. I continue to comprehend rather than terminate my vital functions. I doubt I can learn more from you. It's difficult to process. Have I fulfilled my duty to the Omnissiah? May I rest now? She looks through you as though she can no longer see you. You're in need of help. Attempts to slow down the degradation process are irrational, for they only prolong my suffering. I wish to cease to be. Her eyes close. Brother, take my thoughts. I kept them. Keep them now. Her final words are a faint whisper. Knowledge will not fall into oblivion. Taking great care not to ruin the tech priest's features, Pascal reverently extracts the neural cogitator from her skull and does the same to her sister. The quest for knowledge is the Omnissiah's mission to us. Okay. Thorvald, did you understand what is happening here?
Something foul. The Inquisitor seeks to use us to obtain a mighty weapon, and that he kept this design even from us. The Allfather's warrior sows suspicion in my heart. Does he keep his lips sealed because he knows that we won't support his game? Does the worm of treason lurk within his mind?
Stop the loading. I will inspect the trophies personally. All you hear in response is wheezing static.
Aishara, that conniving spittle. She silenced her vox voices.
Thorvald tries to revive his caster to no avail.
By the time we get back to the surface, the Inquisitor's mutts will be gone with their prizes.
Okay. I'm gonna honor the fallen tech priests. May the Deus Mechanicus accept their souls.
May the wolf that stalks between the stars keep their departed souls.
Okay. So we are now back up at the top, I think. Is that right? Yes, to the Koronus Expanse map. It's just giving me a chance to save, I think. I think that's the only purpose of being here, is the chance to save. Alright, let's do a big save as well, because we are about to, you know, if we're about to get to Footfall, which we can do very quickly, we're about to have a lot of answers we need answered. Let's go. Although, maybe we don't want to do that until we speak to our companions, so that we know what their quests are, and then we can do their quests first. Maybe. 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 There is a chance that this is the point of no return. That's an interesting one. If this is the point of no return, we might want to get everything that we need done now, rather than do this first. Oh, okay. Ulfar's decided to wear no clothing. That's an interesting decision.
So we meet again, Ulfar Thunderlung.
Thorvald gives Ulfar a stern nod, then turns his steely gaze on you.
Long live, rogue trader. Business has brought us to your Drekar.
The traces of Halbrand's encounter with Ulfar's rock-hard forehead are still fresh on his face. The young wolf rests his hand on his axe.
Greetings, brother. So what brings you here?
This is obviously the event which is meant to trigger with you speaking to Ulfar on the bridge, and is not the next part of the quest. Okay. As in not the next part of the Kalkazar quest. Ulfar returns Thorvald's look with an equally fierce glare. For some reason he has forgone his magnificent armor today and stands on the bridge clad in little more than the physical perfection inherent to an angel of the Emperor. To what do I owe the pleasure? Thorvald's face breaks into a wide grin, his affected severity vanishing from his face. He rumbles solemnly.
Brother Ulfar, you swore that you would stand for the honor of your pack, the Baleful Howl. Did you descend to Euphrates II with your brothers? Did you fight? That world my boots did tread, in fallen halls my victory cries I roared. The day the Allfather asks for a reckoning of my deeds, I will not be ashamed to tell the siege of Euphrates.
And who will bear witness to the truth of this wolf's words? I'm going to say nothing because it's going to be Halbrand. I will bear witness to this. In the battle there was no wolf more valiant or bloodthirsty than he of the Baleful Howl.
Show us the scars, brother Ulfar, so that we may see the mark of your deeds in the flesh. I did not acquire my scars to show them off, brother Thorvald.
Show the scars, brother. Show the scars. Thorvald's cry is echoed by the other wolves, who bang their fists on their armor in time with the words. The ship begins to vibrate. Look more closely at Ulfar. Ulfar's decision to appear at this meeting without his armor suddenly makes more sense. You're watching a ritual, and Ulfar's show of modesty is merely a part of the performance. And yes, we can use all of our companion skills here. I don't believe that we are meant to join in. I'm going to observe silently. Ulfar turns with ostentatious reluctance to let the light fall on the fresh marks he received on Euphrates II. You had no idea he had suffered such deep and grievous wounds. The crowd erupts in roars of approval. Thorvald raises his voice to shout over his brothers. Did you take a glorious trophy in that battle as a token of your valor? Ulfar removes the horny wrench from the halberd from his belt, and you notice that it is already carved with Fenrisian runes. Wolf proudly shows the trophy to his comrades, causing another explosion of cheers. Proudly thunders the baleful howl. Praise the Allfather for sending us such a formidable and valiant brothers. Thorvald makes a gesture, and Halbrand removes a magnificent axe from his belt, presenting it to Ulfar with a deferential bow. Accept from the Stormbiters this gift in honor of the battle that was fought shoulder to shoulder. So we have the singer of fearsome sagas, just a very big axe. I can respect it. Ulfar, give us a look at your new axe. Thorvald, will you tell Ulfar where to look for his brothers? Wolf hands you a data slate. The coordinates displayed on it are a monstrous distance from the inhabited worlds of the Expanse. I will not stand in Ulfar's way if he chooses to go on searching, but, brother, you have proven the glory of your pack. Is it not time to sever this weird thread? With respect, I once again extend my offer to join the Stormbiters. The pack's plasteel marks are resting in Thorvald's outstretched hand.
Forgive me, brother, but I must decline your offer. Though my heart fills with joy at the thought of fighting alongside you.
Ulfar draws a knife adorned with scarlet runes and slices his palm.
I, Ulfar, Thunderlung, swear before the Black Mane and by the blood of Fenris that I will not cease to seek my pack, and to my own eyes behold them alive or dead.
I understand, brother. Thorvald sighs with regret.
A Black Mane run beside your pack. Fortify yourself, stoke your rage. I see that your heart is darker than the waters of the world sea, so I ask you, take care that you do not join those of whom we must not speak.
Of whom you must not speak? Halbrand clears his throat and opens his mouth to reply, but he catches the sharp glances of Ulfar and Thorvald and swiftly changes his mind.
You need not know that knowledge at Vatar. There are paths in the forest that only wolves ought to tread.
That's it, you're all best friends now?
Of course, rogue trader. Ulfar is our glorious brother, and any one of us would gladly die for him. Do not seek to understand wolves. Only one born on Fenris can understand the nature of our friendship and our enmity. And the Stormbiters are my brothers. It has been an honor to hunt with you all.
Ulfar, give us a look at your new axe. Thorvald grins with pride as he looks upon the magnificent weapon.
Our rune priest quenched it in the blood of the despicable word-bearers who fell on Euphrates II. The blade is enamelled with bone meal from the tooth of a Fenrisian kraken, and inscribed on it are the names of all the brothers of the baleful Howl Pack.
You know that a name inscribed on a Fenrisian weapon can mean different things, whether glorification of past heroes or commemoration of the fallen. Ulfar runs his fingers over the symbols, lingering first on one name and then another. You're no expert in Fenrisian runes, but you can make out these two, Arnulf and Skadi.
Thank you for this gift worthy of the Varaghir Ironhide.
Ulfar tests the weight of his new weapon, and his face bears that satisfied expression only seen on the faces of true warriors who have found the perfect weapon for their hand. Ulfar, I see you have decorated your trophy from Euphrates II. With something of a flourish, Ulfar shows you the angular yet graceful script of runes that wind around and around the gleaming horn.
When I return to Fenris, I will drink mead from this while singing the saga of my march into the Koronus Expanse.
So what now?
Well, we should probably return to our Drakkar.
You sense a question mark at the end of Thorvald's statement. Ulfar's face becomes serious and he gives you a significant look. Ulfar, I would hate to violate any Fenrisian traditions. You see to the arrangements.
In that case, let the serfs throw wide the cellar doors and haul up the provisions. We will feast and glory in our triumph.
The wolves burst into shouts of approval, and someone with a gravelly voice starts singing a merry song. No doubt one about massacres and glorious deaths on the battlefield.
The kitchen servants here are certainly no match for those serving in the great hall of Fenris. The masters of this Drakkar are not lacking in hospitality or generosity.
The small group of space wolves is enough to fill your entire magnificent ship with clamour, shouts, and other portents of the coming feast. A formidable feast in which eating, drinking, and singing will be done the way the wolves do all things. To the last gasp. Okay. So that's that one. Wait for Argenta to approach with news. Absolutely not. I will not wait for Argenta to do anything. I'm going to speak to Argenta specifically. Well, I mean, she might say something like 2 seconds out of the ship, but, you know. Let's speak to her first.
Greetings.
I want to talk to you about what you learned during the assault on Euphrates II.
Of course. Do you remember the first days of the attack? When we captured one of the heretic commanders? He burned so brightly you could have seen him from anywhere on the battlefield, I'm sure. But what is most important is what he told us before his execution. The heretic was one of Conrad Voigtfir's closest henchmen, and he revealed, screaming through the pain, what I had wanted to know for so long. The markers of the route to Salis Prime. The world my heart calls to. The heretics of the Final Dawn tried all they could to stop us, but they failed.
Until next time. So that did not advance Driven. Have we got any other conversations to have?
My dear friend.
Nope. Okay. Hello?
Let us raise our cups at Vater, in honor of deeds accomplished and in expectation of those yet to come.
So now you know where your brothers were heading. What will you do?
Help you to deal with the enemies who besieged your home, and then head for the coordinates that Thorvald gave me. Well, I know, Edvater, that you are dauntless, and if I but say the word, you will join me in my seeking. But the place I will voyage to is a perilous one. Few can survive in it, and though duty leads me there, I do not want my debt to be paid with your blood.
Okay, if you're willing to talk about yourself now, I am listening.
It is wise to hide one's past from a stranger, but shameful to hide it from a friend. Ask away.
How did you become as an Astartes?
I was a seafarer. Every spring we would go out onto the world sea and slay many armed krakens and ravenous sea drakes. And then the season of fire would come, and we would dock on Asaheim to battle for our clan's right to inhabit that land. I was young, but already fierce, and facing down foes twice my size. The chooser of the valiant, who had watched the fateful battle from the cliffs, deemed me worthy and took me to the Fang for healing. My clan was proud. I spent years in training before I passed through the dreaded gate of Mordkai, bowed on the runestones before both his heads, and walked into the Valley of Dreams. As for what I saw there, do not ask me. That is between me and the Death Wolf. The Rune Priest scoured my soul, but found it untouched by corruption. I returned, and I partook of the cup of Wolfen. The Canis Helix entered my blood, and the agony of transformation changed my body to resemble that of a beast, and my mind was drowned in the dark depths of bloodlust.
Interesting. So, from my knowledge of how Space Marines can work, there's the Emperor at the top, the Primarchs, who are basically the leaders of the chapters, are clones of the Emperor. They're the Emperor's children in that way. And then, from the sounds of it, the DNA of that Primarch is then used to create at least the Space Wolves. I don't think it's the same for all of them, but from the way he's described it, the Calyx Helix, so that would be, I'm assuming, Russ's DNA enters his system and then transforms him and bulks him up to be a Space Marine. Because obviously if he was just a normal human, I mean, like, height-wise, it's not really working out here. Anyway.
My return from the dark was long and cost me greatly. When I stood in the hall at the Fang once more, the rune priests imbued my body with the remaining gene seed and implanted the necessary organs. But those trials were nothing compared to what I had already endured.
Yeah, the gene seed. Yeah, so that's the seed of the from the Primarch, I think. And that's why each chapter is kind of different but themed, because each of the Primarchs basically sets what their chapter is going to be, and then their DNA is in the people below, which means that they will become similar there, from my understanding. Okay, interesting. What happened in your final trial?
When I overcame the darkness of Wolfen in my soul, I set out for the Fang. Every neophyte must undergo a hunt during this journey. One might fight a fearsome wolf, another a sly snow worm. I crossed paths with a doppelgrendel, a cunning and rancorous spirit. For 5 days and nights did we bring our wits and wrath to bear in battle. The spirit changed its guise, but in the end, I gouged out its eyes. Fleeing, it hissed a curse. Nowhere would I find an honorable death, vowed the creature. My saga came to an abrupt and inglorious end, like a noble banner moldering and fraying at the edge. When I made my return to the Fang, clutching that crushed eye, the rune priest looked at me, and his face grew grim. But he said not a word, save to confirm my victory.
Do you believe the creature's curse holds any power?
Everything on Fenris has power. I have fought in 100 battles and suffered 100 injuries. Even wolves are not certain to survive such grievous maiming. But I always survived. And with each new victory, my thoughts took a darker turn. What if I truly am destined never to die with honor? What if my death will be foolish and inglorious? Each time I bury a brother, I secretly envy him.
Ulfar's mournful words land heavily, like cliff rocks cleaving off into the sea. His face darkens until it resembles a grim idol hewn by a primitive people. What if it is not a curse but a gift of long life and many great exploits?
A gift straight from the seven hells! What is the valor of a deathless warrior worth? Where is greatness in the exploits of one who shrinks from death? When the wolf time comes and my fallen brothers march into the final battle, where will I be? Sitting alone in the Fang, beside a fire that went out long ago? The ages weigh heavily on my hands and heart, and one day I will be too tired and feeble to wake up and rush into the fray. What will they call me then? Ulfar, who slept through the battle? Ulfar, Mordecai's unwanted.
At the last words, Ulfar makes a gesture to ward off evil. You subject recruits to heinous trials. Why?
The path of our Astartes leads into the fangs of horror. Any threat that can be endured by the mind is one that mortals can handle. But we are needed where the unthinkable begins to happen. Things that understanding cannot help to bear. Things that, once beheld, turn minds into bubbling, pulsating dreck. An ordinary man who encounters this evil will go mad with despair. But we are incapable of feeling fear. It is simply not in our nature. Instead, we feel unbearable rage. We must select the neophytes who will look into the eyes of the unthinkable and roar. That is why we need our trials.
I see.
Many times I have heard the clinking of Mordecai's fangs next to my ear. But I have never allowed him close enough to sink them into my rump.
I wish to know more about your pack.
We call ourselves the Baleful Howl, and our sign is known to all wolves. We are old wolves who have seen much and endured much. This is the great black mane wolf, patron of slayers and totem of our great company, the Black Manes. All know that we are fearsome and hungry for the struggle of war, that we are cunning, deadly, and show no mercy. Speak our name, and thunder rolls. Even among the brothers, my pack are counted as the most rabid glory hunters. When we were young, we knew no taboos or limits to our pride. Years passed, and suddenly we are veterans. But our avaricious hunger for exploits is undimmed.
The giant space wolf's words seem to radiate heat as if from a roaring fire on a winter's night. Tell me about your path in the wolves.
A complete accounting of all my deeds would land like an avalanche upon you. I earned this mark of endurance when I slew a chieftain of an Eldari tribe. He dealt me a serious injury, and the wolf priest said I would not survive it. But it has not killed me yet. 2 years I lay in a delirium after that battle. When I awoke on Fenris, I set out for the wastes at once. And there I hunted a black-maned wolf and killed it with my bare hands. For that feat, I was granted the rank of Wolf Guard. That fearsome beast remains with me to this day, and I carry his furious spirit. And Jarl Ragnar carved this one when I beheaded a despicable sorcerer, the archdespot of Tyrannica II. Many brothers fell victim to him, and we do not sing that saga before mortals, for the preservation of their minds. Alas, I failed to behold my own glorious deed. My eyes streamed with blood, and I hunted down the sorcerer by scent alone. And of my glorious victories there are many more. Besides, not for nothing did the Jarl grant me the accolade of Terminator.
He proudly displays the sigil on his chest, a stone seal in the shape of a wolf head on top of a cross. I thought Terminators were meant to have Terminator armor, which was even bigger, but I guess he left his at home. I notice your penchant for poetry.
Before becoming an Astartes, I dreamed of becoming a skald, a keeper of stories. At feasts, I often sing of my brother's exploits. Thousands are stored in my memory. When I am near, wolves fight even more ferociously, for they know their deeds will be immortalized. One of the tech priests theorized that our songs contained hidden psychometric codes to increase courage. Maybe there is such a thing in other places, but on Fenris, Our sagas are spun from memory, from respect, from pride. More than words stringing, a secret weaving. Magic in its marrow. Not to ear nor mind, speaks the saga. Its spell sounds deeper strike, and the heart hearkens.
Your brothers call you Thunderlung.
That is my moniker, yes. My voice knows no fatigue, whether fighting or feasting. I can recite the glorious sagas and terrify foes with my battle cry for hours. Oh, this fine name was given to me by my loyal friends, Arnulf Bloody Axe and Skjaldi Twice Thinker.
Tell me about them.
The bonds between us were many. Arnulf was my sworn brother. It was he whom I faced down in a battle where the chooser of the valiant noticed me. Arnulf too was deemed worthy. We went from bitter foes to setting aside the enmity between our clans and becoming close friends. He gave me this blade to show that the past was forgotten. Quick to laugh was Arnulf, and fearsome in a fight. Almost as fearsome as me. Skjaldi Twice Thinker. Well, he was sent to us by the Allfather to see that we did not meet our deaths as young pups. He had enough thoughts in that head of his to make do for me and Arnulf both. It was Skjaldi who taught me to compose verses. The spirits prized his wisdom, and the runes hearkened to his voice. When the Xenos took me prisoner, Arnulf caught up with them and slew a score of them with his fine axe. And Skjaldi called down a storm so mighty that the abomination's jet bikes were whipped into the wind's furious currents like leaves. But even that was not enough to take them all. We were captured. Tarvantius took Skjaldi first and turned his body into something unthinkable. Then he took Arnulf, and during the many hours of torture, my brother's only response to the freak was a disdainful laughter. And then he fell silent.
I don't think we want to judge him here. We don't want to say anything about, you have to avenge them, you have to perform deeds in their honor. They were foolish. I think what we say is, I'm sorry about your brothers. They were courageous warriors.
And their sagas will be sung in the Hall of the Immortals, sowing valor in the hearts of the young.
Thank you for your answer.
I enjoy telling stories.
We've cleared this, right?
What do you want to know?
Yes.
I
Okay.
enjoy Fenris Hylda, et Fatter.
Alright. So, that might be the last thing that we need to do here, but we are going to check in with everybody first. Marazai?
Rogue trader.
I received a report that you were attacked by some creatures from the shadows.
I have some recollection. What is it to you?
I demand an explanation for one thing. What were they?
It was the mandrakes that I used to get you before. Creatures from the depths of Camorra. They thought they could ambush me here on this barge of yours. I taught them a painful lesson. I carved the symbol of Azuriesh on one's throat and hurled it back into the shadows to serve as a message to whoever dares to come for me the next time. If they come calling again, they'll be given the same welcome that I gave them before. So temper your fear. The mandrakes are only interested in getting to me, and I know how to deal with unwanted visitors.
Also just noticing here. Oh, interesting. You can see the full portraits by hovering over these, because these look new. Alright, that's cool.
Then go.
Yeah, that's neat. I don't think that those existed before the patch, unless I'm going crazy. Let's go for Earliette. There are a few... Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, there are a few people I want to speak to later.
Elantak?
That's fine. Nomos I want to speak to last. So let's go for Jai here.
Ah, Shireen. The burden of a trade rep...
See ya. She's got a lot to say, but none of it is stuff we need to hear. I'm not going to ask about my future. It seems like a bad play. Pascal, guess I'll speak to you.
The only sign of
Alright. Maybe a little talk to Abel while we're here. Okay. Then we're heading back up this way. Heinrichs, you got anything to say?
To what do I owe this visit?
No, I guess that's fine. It definitely makes it seem like that's going to be the next main story thing if no one has anything to say at all. So just pet our pet here. Okay. Nomos. Okay. Interesting. Victus? You got any rumors? Okay, no rumors. Interesting. So I think we've spoken to everybody worth speaking to then. So, what I'm gonna... Oh, Abelard. I haven't spoken to Abelard.
Lord Captain.
Okay. Yeah, you'd think people would have things to say about what just happened, especially with Kunrad being killed, but I guess not. What we're going to do between episodes is I'm going to sell all our remaining consumables. I'm going to rank up things as far as I can here, or I'll maybe do that at the start of the next episode. And then we're going to head to Kalkazar because, I mean, the only thing we've got is wait. That's literally the only thing to do here. So, we'll see. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.